funny story because
Mhm.
I never actually chose to move to the United States. It sort of just happened.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Soul Supremacy, where we talk about all things unapologetic, all things passion and in pursuit of. And my guest over here, I'm so excited to have her on the hot seat because she is someone that I've met a while back, and while I feel like I still yet have to know a lot about her, in which we will get into with tonight's episode. I'm super excited to have her too because she is someone that not only I respect, but someone that I just see constantly working on their craft, which is something that I always admire in a person. Is someone who is just always doing them, being a light in the world, and giving it back. So without further ado, we have Adriana Cuba on the house. How are you? How are you, baby? How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so happy to be talking with you today. Thanks for
I
inviting.
know. You're welcome. And like what I was telling our beautiful guest over here, a lot of for those that have been tuning in, if you've been tuning in, whether this is your first time or maybe a few episodes or the whole series so far, like what I was telling our guests over here, I've really been super intentional with the people that I've invited to talk with me, to like talk, because energy is really a currency. And in the end, the people that I want to bring on the show are people that inspire me, so then I could use them as a platform, as a vessel to also inspire all of y'all tuning in. So without further ado, let's get started. So my friend, actually, I was telling her my phone died. I was gonna read her bio. Like, I was so excited to read her website, but you know what? I think I will give the opportunity to have our friend over here to share more about what she does.
All right. Well, I'm from Peru. I moved to America 3 years ago. I'm
Oh
an
wow.
actress. I'm a filmmaker, and I've been doing that for a long, long time. That's what I used to do in Peru for 13 years before I moved here. And
Mm-hmm.
now I'm like, getting to work on my art here, which is, it's been so great because I feel like I've seen so many like good opportunities here. So yeah, I'm acting in a few stuff that I'm really proud of, that I really like. Because I
Mm-hmm.
think one of the things that I find more value in is to be able to choose the projects that they're saying something that you truly believe, that you agree with it. And I found a lot of those here. So I'm
Wow.
super happy about that, that they actually share something I care about or I believe in, and it's
Mm-hmm.
saying something I want to say. So I've been doing that. I've been doing documentary. I'm working on a documentary that's going to be done and premiered in September. Super soon.
Next month.
Next,
Next month, y'all. Actually, your episode is gonna come out actually in September. Do you have a date yet for your documentary?
um, I
Tentatively.
I think it's going to be close to the 20th. Yeah, because it's a Peruvian documentary. So I done
Mm.
everything 4 years ago in Peru, and I was trying to premiere it, but then COVID happened.
Is this gonna be in person or virtual? Where can
It's
people?
gonna be both
Okay.
in Cusco though, in Peru, and
Mhm.
then virtual so everybody can see it.
Did you say in person in Peru?
Yes, in Cusco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Dang, I have to work hard to buy a ticket to go to Peru. No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
Let's go.
Nice. Yes. Okay. Nice, nice. Okay, well, thank you for sharing a little bit of yourself, because our friend over here is clearly a very, very multi hyphenated artist. And we will get to know more about her actually in the segment called the Icebreaker Questions, which is literally an icebreaker segment. I didn't really have the energy to come up with a different, like a more creative title. I'm like, these are icebreaker questions, therefore I'll just call it the icebreaker segment. Okay, my friend. So my very first question for you is, what are three things about you that people wouldn't normally know when they meet you for the first time?
They wouldn't normally know.
Yes, yes. So like meeting you, like, hey, I'm Adriana. Nice to meet you. Like, what are three things about you that people wouldn't like normally know from seeing you for the first time? That makes sense.
Yes, I I'm a traveler. I've been traveling for a long, long time before moving here. Before like finding a little bit of stabilization. So yeah, I've been traveling 2 years before coming here, and then I was traveling like another 3 years before that. Just like
Wow.
through around South America, Central America.
Oh wow.
So
I don't think I mean, I'm not surprised, but I definitely didn't know that about you. But it makes sense, like the way you carry yourself, you feel so like there's so much like depth, like worldly, you know? Like when I first met you, I was like, you said hi to me. Well, okay, you were tabling. Actually, that's another question. That's another question of the interview. But when we met, I remember feeling awkward and like I saw her sitting down and I just like, oh, let me say hi. Let me talk to her. And you weren't afraid. Or for me, it didn't feel like you hesitated to just like talk to a stranger, you know?
yeah, it took me a while to get there though, because
Mm.
when I moved to America, I was super shy because I wasn't sure about my English. You know, like I wasn't
Oh,
about
mhm,
that, and I I was making a lot of mistakes when saying things. But then I was like, we have to break this and
mhm,
go for it. And I love connecting with people. Like I love
mm.
to actually take the moment to listen to what they're saying, because I think one thing I truly believe is you can experience life through other people's eyes, and I
Mm.
love that. Like I love to know their lives and how they're like seeing the world and how different that from me.
Wow.
So I like that, and I really remember you from that day because you were like, I feel like it was an honest connection. Like it was not like pretending anything. It was just like, this is me being scared. I don't know anybody. Guy.
I yes, thank you for saying that because it was real honest. I was like, it was a mix. Okay, so we're actually just gonna jump because this is actually one of the questions about how we met. But since we're talking about it now, we'll just talk about it briefly. But it was a mix. It was like a Halloween mixer for San Diego Filipino Cinema, which is based here in San Diego, and which is how we met. She was volunteering at the time. Um, it was one of my first few events that I went with them, and I was so awkward and like feeling very crippled actually in terms of like my social anxiety. So there was that honest kind of currency that I was just like, who do I talk to? And then I like she was sitting down, she was next to me, and I like being an empath, I felt like I was able to really like feel her like sincerity. So I was like, hey, what's up? you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoy your vulnerability there.
Mm,
It's hard to be able to just be vulnerable and show yourself as you are.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was great. That's why I was like, I like this guy. He's cool. I'm
Thank
a fan.
you. Likewise, which is why we've stayed in touch and which is why she's on my show because I was like, I respect you, and I want you to be on my show. Okay, I think that was just no, one or two. No, I think that was two. Okay, one more thing about you.
Okay. Oh yeah, you said yeah. Other
Or I mean if you want to add more, I just counted you being shy as someone that,
um,
it's up to
something.
you.
Wait, I honestly, I don't. I'm trying to think of something like people wouldn't think of me when they met me. Um, can I take the easy route and ask you what you wouldn't think?
Okay. I love it. Okay. I think from meeting you, okay, no, that's actually okay. I see your co-host. Okay, so now that I've gotten to know her a whole lot more than that moment when we first met, yeah, what she said about traveling a lot, even though I felt it, I wouldn't have like that wouldn't have been the first thing I guessed. Um, I don't think I would have guessed. Yes, I guessed actress, but like being a filmmaker, which you just shared with me earlier, that's something that I didn't know actually. So I guess that's two. And then I guess the last one, and if you have any ideas after I share, just feel free to chime in. I don't think I would have guessed. I mean, I guess going back to your body of work, just kind of when I was skimming through your website earlier, I didn't. I don't think that's something that I instantly would like. amount of training and the rigor, in your art. I don't think that's something that I would have guessed, because I've like trained in my art for like a long time, which was dance. I trained in it for 10 years, and there's like value when someone trains for that long, for a while. So I guess that would be a third one for me. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of them is like I actually used to have social anxiety too. So that I
Mm.
think that's something I show.
Mhm.
I've been working on it, so I think I'm feeling more
Mm.
confident now. But yeah, for sure, like I used to have it. Like
Me
when
too.
I moved to San Diego, I was like, I
Mm.
love people. I don't know how to talk to them in English.
You know what? But yes, yes, yes. Actually, I will have to also like add and say that I think, and this is just maybe like one super like micro aspect of it, but I think maybe from my experience, where the anxiety comes from for me with social anxiety is the moment I step away from being myself. You know, when I feel like I have to be something that I'm not, then of course, who isn't gonna feel anxious when they have to put up a front and be like, I'm gonna be something that I'm not. So therefore I have to like kind of reconfigure my being into like being something different. So I'm like versus like dropping in into that state of flow and just kind of like the knowing of like this is me. So
Yeah,
like yes, I may be a little bit kind of anxious of like what people may think of me, but I'm gonna just be me and I'm gonna just operate in how I know how to be.
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel something I find really useful too now is just relaxing and allow myself to be okay. To be like
Mhm.
if I'm just yeah that you're saying, just be yourself. Like just be connected to your needs and to whatever
Mhm.
you feel like you have to do or have to say, and just respect
Mhm.
that. Respect that you're this. You're the process. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're there and we are here at this same exact moment that will never be replicated. So, yes. Okay. So, without getting too deep, no, I'm just kidding. We have to get deep. No, we love to get deep here. So, but I actually want to ask her my next question. And my next question for you is, what is your favorite food? Only one.
Oh, easy. Pollo a la brasa. Peruvian food.
Ooh, say that again one more time and explain it what it is because I've never heard of it. Haven't heard of it.
Pollo a la brasa. That's
Pollo, that's chicken a la
yeah,
brasa. Like,
rotisserie chicken, but the Peruvian version, which is
mm,
chicken and really delicious spices that I really don't know what they are.
oh my god.
La brasa, which is just the fire, and French fries and salad.
Oh wow.
Simple, simple meal, super good. Um,
Do you do you make it?
no, because you have to have a special oven and you have to have special spices from Peru, and they don't sell them in America. Like that is
Mm.
like bring them and stuff, but not really.
Oh.
Yeah, so I've been in the hunt for pollo,
Mm.
someone else's spot around San Diego.
So I'm assuming the last time you've had it was probably before you like moved here.
So actually, there's a really good spot in LA.
Oh,
So
in LA. Okay.
yeah,
In
every
San Diego, no.
like I'm going there, and it's really far. It's super hard to get there, but worth it. Worth it.
Yes, anything to have a sense of home, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what's my next question? This is me thinking out loud. I was telling her these last two episodes have been free flow and it's good. Do you since you were talking about some of your methods and kind of practices to like um you said meditating earlier. I guess my question is what are some of your like self like or what is one of your favorite like self-care, self-love routines that you do when things kind of get like because I'm sure in your line of work, I'm sure you're always busy. It can get very hectic. How do you like go back to yourself?
Meditating for sure, but
Mm-hmm.
then I have two activities that they're kind of meditating. which is
Mhm.
skating, because it
Mm.
totally brings me to the present moment and it absolutely connects me.
Or else you fall down.
Or else you'll be hurt. So
Yeah.
it's like, you have to be present. You have to be confident. You
Mhm.
in you have to honor your creating power. Like, like if you see where you're going, that's where you're going. If you
Wow.
the movement you're gonna do, then your body follows. If you doubt, you'll fall or you won't go where you want to go. So great teacher. And
Mhm.
aerial silks, my circus stuff. I absolutely love it too.
Wow.
This is the same thing, and it has shown me how strong I can be, not only physically but mentally.
Mentally.
Like you do crazy.
I tried it once. I tried skating too, but I tried aerial silks once. I was like, ooh, ooh, that was
It took me a while. When I started, I couldn't even climb. It took me
yes, that. Yeah.
some time to only climb.
Mhm.
Then I just fell in love with it. I kept doing it. So now I can climb. I can do
Nice.
that. But yeah, you have to do crazy drops, and you just have to trust it's gonna catch you. That you're safe.
Nice.
You can do it.
Nice.
But of course, meditating for sure. That's my favorite. Just sitting with my
Mm.
own thoughts, or not thinking about anything, and just breathing, connecting, focusing
Yeah.
on art, journaling, whatever I'm feeling. Just writing
Yes.
brings such clarity to my mind that life is like, oh, I understand why I'm doing this, and I understand what I used to be that I don't want to be anymore, or what I used to be
Mm.
I don't need anymore. It's not serving me anymore. So
Yes, ma'am. I love that.
yeah, those are my
Oh,
favorite dating for sure.
nice. Nice. And then my final question for you is drum roll. Boom. Okay. If Adriana Cuba were to have her own TikTok dance challenge, what would the first move look like? And you have to demonstrate it.
Oh, it for sure will be something with reggaeton because I'm obsessed lately with that Latino music. Yeah, I would say I don't know something like this,
Okay, wait. Do it again. Do it again.
but
Make,
it has to be a hip movement too. I'm not gonna do it right now, but like,
oh, are you talking about like a
yeah, and you can imagine your body like your hips moving with it. Yes,
almost it's like a snake, like
that,
a snake.
yeah, that was
Okay, I love it.
so yeah.
Okay, so now we're gonna proceed to the main interview, my love. And my very first question for you is, who is Adriana?
I love that question. I love it because it's always super hard. I feel like
Thank
I've
you.
thought about that many times, and every time I have to answer that, it's still like a hard one. At this moment, and this changes every time I think about this question. Um, I would say I am explorer, and I'm absolutely discovering myself. Like I'm trying to learn my ways to connect better with me and with the environment around me and with the people around me, and honestly with the universe, with the everything. So right now I'm an explorer. Still so
Nice. I
many so
love
many
it.
things to learn.
I love it. And I really love how the very first thing that you said was you acknowledge the fact that it's a hard question. And it it is a hard question. And that you also didn't, not that, I mean, honestly, it's never like it has to be one or the other. But I also appreciated that you went more into your core values of who you are versus what you do. Because sometimes people will answer saying, like, I am a actor, I'm a, so they kind of go into like what they do versus who they actually are,
Mhm.
so thank you, we appreciate that.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm
Okay,
an
so
actress.
she's an actress, she
I
she
act too.
knows she knows how to play the role, but in this case she also knows how to really tune in and be with them. There you go.
I like that. I like that. I like that question.
Thank you. Okay, so actually, I was gonna ask. So normally, what I ask, like what I mentioned earlier, the next question would have been how we met. But since she brought it up and we talked about it, we're gonna take a huge dive into Adriana's childhood and how she was as a kid. And for those that have tuned into my podcast before, y'all may recognize that I like to ask this question because the people I feel like the people that we become and the people that we are now, which is always ever changing, is mainly influenced by how we grew up, our environment, our experiences, and which is why I always appreciate and love asking this question. So, how was or how would you describe Adriana as a kid growing up?
I would say honest, simple, natural, playful. I grew up in a really small town in Peru. It's called Juliaca. Super, super close to Puno, the mountains, super cold. And when I grew up, there was nothing there. Like no movie theaters, no internet, no phones. My voice.
Very good. It's all good.
No
Wow.
phone, and nothing. So it was, even though those things they existed already as I was growing up. Since I was in such a small town, we didn't know any about it. I feel like I saw a phone when I was in fourth grade in secundaria because we have different names for
Yeah.
school there. So I was like
Yeah.
probably 13 or 14 when I saw a phone for the first time. Yeah, something like that, around
Mhm.
that age. And it
How
was like
I
one of those huge ones. They didn't
uh,
have anything.
Adriana, I actually have a quick question before you
Yes,
continue. How old are you?
I'm 28.
Oh, you're
28
younger
now.
than me, girl. By a year. Okay. Okay, I'm just curious. Okay. So she's 28, meaning she was born in 93?
Yes.
93. Yeah, so just to give a little bit of like a context on like what year. Okay, okay, got it. Okay. Okay, continue. Thank you.
Yeah. So 93, Juliaca, Puno,
Mm-hmm.
Peru.
Wow.
And literally, like, I, my aunt or my uncle, they would have farms, and we would go there and we would drink milk or cheese or
Wow.
dupachamanca, which is a Peruvian
Fresh,
dish.
I'm sure fresh.
Fresh,
Yeah.
everything clean. So it was really really fun, and
Wow.
I
Yeah.
that's where I started acting, singing, creating, dancing, because there was nothing else to do, and I
The
would just go.
animals. Yeah, I'm sure the animals were your first audience. The cow was like moo. You couldn't tell if it was a boo or moo. Just kidding.
Yes. Yeah, we would do that. And I would just go to school and sing in the church because
Mhm.
I don't know how to say this in English.
Mm.
My school was very Catholic.
Oh, Catholic.
Yeah, and just for girls. But like,
Oh, girls' school.
yeah,
Mm.
you know monjas?
No, but that reminds. I actually, well, I'm Catholic, and I also in the Philippines, at least, I went to a all boys Catholic school. So
Yeah, it was very interesting. It was fun. So yeah, we
yeah.
would just act and dance and sing and play in the streets.
Wow.
And that was my childhood.
And
I had
enjoying life.
enjoying life for sure. I had my dad and my mom. They were together at that time. My two
Mm.
sisters, they're older than me. They lived with me like the first years, but then they
Mhm.
went to college to Arequipa,
Mm.
which is another city in Peru. So I was pretty
Mhm.
much the only child for a long time
Oh wow.
because they're like 14 years older than me.
Oh
Yeah, and they're like
wow.
I don't remember exactly. I think they're 42 and 41, and then there's me.
Wow, that is a big gap.
Yeah, yep. I don't think they were planning on it, my parents. But
That's why you're a miracle. There you go. You are a miracle of the wonders of the wonders. Yeah.
so yeah, it was really really nice. It was a childhood like super chill.
Hmm.
I had a lot of friends, and since it's such a small town, my friends are all they all lived so close. So I was like so close. So I would just
Mhm.
like go and play with them
Wow.
anytime. Super nice. We were all friends. It was great. Great. Great childhood.
Wow. That reminded me, actually, I mean, I was 9 when I moved here, from Manila, Philippines to San Diego, which I've literally been here for 20 years now. But like some of like enough of what you were sharing, like I could relate to as a kid as well, because even though I recognized at a young age that I was we were middle class, we still, like, a lot of my friends, lived in the slums. Like the slums was actually how I identified growing up, and just like the simple things of like swimming in the flood, which was like black, and not realizing I was like dirty and gross, but still swimming in it, like being outside, like running around the whole day. And so like I get in trouble because I was outside the whole day. Even and the crime rate too, like there is super high. It's like but just kind of like being a kid and just kind of being uninhibited.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That always amazed me how kids, they don't see the reality the way we do. And
When we get
things,
older. Oh my
when
god.
we get older, like things we think they're bad, they don't. Like, just like jumping in dirty water or being outside all day or, thinking like, oh, they're poor or things like that.
Yeah.
Kids are just like, they're happy. Like
Yeah, which is probably
the
one of the
innocence.
best, yes, the best kind of stages of possibly being human, is like that point of our lives.
Yeah. When you
Yeah.
can just trust and everything
Yes.
comes to you.
Trust the process. Okay, my friend. So I'm actually that's actually a beautiful segue, because so from what you shared, it really sounded like you had a very, very simple, beautiful, very humble beginnings growing up. And the whole time you were sharing that, I started to become curious, and like, what made you? Well, okay, I mean, you said that you mentioned earlier that you already had started traveling a lot before you moved here. So there are two questions actually, but the first one that I want to ask is, that's a good question. Which is the first question I'm going to ask? And I think I'm going to go with, what made you, what made you want to pursue acting professionally? Like, what made you want to pursue this realm professionally?
Okay. I love that question. Um,
Mhm.
because exploring. I felt like through acting, I could see so many sides of humanity and so many sides of myself that I was amazed by it. Like just a
Wow.
learning experience. Something I really, really enjoy is learning and seeing new things and seeing new perspectives. So acting was giving me all of that. And I
Mm,
could like actually be it, like be in the person, understand their reasons. And something that I was really curious about too is like the non-judgmental person you have to be to
mm.
perform a character, because sometimes you can
Oof.
find a character that you don't agree with their values or their actions, but you don't judge them because you know where they're coming from.
Mhm.
So I think that shaped my personality in so many ways too, and like made me realize of a lot of things that I agree with that I don't. That's
Yes.
what wrote me. So I was like, I want to do this, and it's fun, and it connects you with people. And if you can actually be true to yourself while you're performing, you'll create a channel between you and the public that's seeing you. I love that. I feel like that's so magical. That second of presence and pure connection, and how your imagination can fly with it. I like that. That's what made me get into it professionally.
I love it. And just like the way she like explained that, y'all, I was like energetically, I'm like, yes, you've like kind of somehow really reminded me of why I chose to be in this field too, of just being in the arts, is because there's like a currency, like what I've been saying the whole time, this like currency that's very indescribable. You can't describe it. It's something that you feel, but it's like kind of like, I guess, like how we're talking, that is, one of them. But like being an artist, I feel like it you don't, I mean, yes, you can choose it, but it also has to choose you, for you to kind of be able to run with it. So then my next question is actually would be perfect then. What made you move to, or what made you like finally decide, like, okay, I'm gonna leave I'm gonna choose to leave everything behind, my life in Peru, or wherever you were at, actually, before you moved to the United States.
Mhm. So funny story, because
Mhm.
I never actually chose to move to the United States. It sort of just happened.
Oh.
But I knew I wanted to go and travel and explore really more of the film industry outside. Because
Mm.
in Lima, I felt like I was stuck. Like I was doing stuff, but like I wasn't like feeling fulfilled anymore.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
was like I'm really curious on what's out there. You know, the other countries, like the bigger industry countries. So
Mhm.
I had the opportunity to go to Toronto to film a movie.
Yes,
So
girl. What was
I
it? What was that
went.
film? Share with us.
It's called Norte. It's a Peruvian Canadian movie. So it's Spanglish.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, Peruvian producers, they found all the resources to go. And we went to Toronto, we filmed there. And I was like, this is dope. Like, this is not, you can't compare it with Lima's industry. Because
Mm.
I love Lima's industry because it allows you to be creative, because you have to find a way to do things like it. You have to find a way. Like there's
Yeah.
no nothing like set or these are the rules or the laws. There's nothing like that. So it can be pretty chaotic, but it allows you to be creative on how to solve problems and how to get your project going. But
Wow.
comparing to here and Toronto, it was like, oh, things are like this is how you do it. These are the laws. This is how, what works and what doesn't. So it's more.
There's actually an industry that's already been built, because from what it sounded like, what you were sharing about the industry in Peru, is it's still like being like grassroots. It's still being started.
Yeah,
So you do, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
It's grown so much since I left. But when I was there, I was feeling like I couldn't get my projects going.
Wow.
And yeah, so I was just like, I'm gonna go to Toronto. So I went there,
Hmm.
shot a movie, and I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. And also that cultural shock
Yeah.
was like,
Probably.
wow,
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that because once again, my exploring self was like, this is all new. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
I feel so uncomfortable, but I love it. So after that, I decided. So I had a layover in El
Hmm.
Salvador, before going back to Lima, and I had like 2 months of vacation before getting back to work in Lima. So I decided to stay.
Oh,
So I
wow.
just picked my backpack and just went to El Salvador to travel. And I was traveling around, like again, learning all the new experiences, learning everything I could about myself and other people and cultures and stuff. So I just kept traveling like that. I met a lot of people. I did van life for 2 years after that. So we went
Oh.
all the way down to Panama, and then we went all the way up, and we did all Mexico, and then we were in the States. So I fell in love, and this
Wow.
person was from San Diego. So yeah, we just came back here, and I was like, wow, this place is so cool. And
What
after
a
that, I
small,
just
what a small world.
yeah,
Out of all people, like literally out of anyone that you could have like traveled with, it was someone where you ended up, where you will eventually end up, and be
yeah,
right now, at least where we're at.
yeah. So yeah, we just ended up here, and I was like, okay, I had no way to leave because at that moment I was
Uh-huh.
broken because I spent all my savings on my traveling. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm just gonna stay and try to have a visa and all of that. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
I stayed, completely fell in love with it. Called my mom one day saying, "Mom, I'm moving."
I wanted to ask you that
Same.
question. I was like, but continue. I was like, what was that process like? Like, I mean, in terms of attachment, like, I mean, I know for enough people, oh, like leaving your life behind because of the people that the things that you grew up with. I'm like, how were you able to just be like bye? you know?
I'm not gonna lie, it was so scary. I feel the first
Mm.
year I was here, I was depressed. I loved it, but I've never faced such loneliness in my life before. Because even though, like, when I was traveling and stuff, like, I always had a choice to come back. But when I moved here, and because of
And
my visa thing,
you knew that you were gonna come back, or at least
yeah,
you knew that you were gonna come back to that home, but then that home changed. That definition of home changed for you. It's like,
yeah, I was still stuck. My home is Lima, where I was living before, but I was already
mm,
here, and so I got married, and for all the paperwork thing, like, I literally couldn't leave the country,
mm,
and I didn't know anybody. I didn't know any of the city. Um, so it was hard. I was so scared of speaking English. So
wow.
it was like, wow, I'm actually like being faced with having everything I thought I knew just is not true, or it's gone, like, just like it
Mhm.
comes down. I don't know if that's a word, but it's just like
but
everything I
it's
knew
okay.
was
I
destroyed.
understood you. It's like, yeah.
Sometimes I still have to think of my words to
Mm.
actually say what I'm feeling.
It's
But yeah, it
it's
was
all.
so hard, so hard. Absolutely new. The way people relate to each other is so different. But I was there like, okay, I have no choice. The first months I was like depressed. I was not going out because for in Lima you can walk everywhere. You can take a bus and you can go anywhere you want. Here's
Yeah.
like you need a car to go places, or you can walk, but or take the
You can
bus.
walk,
But
but yeah, it's
it's
different.
it's different. It was just different. So
Hmm.
I was just feeling like this is all new. It's so scary. I feel so lonely, but it was great because after that, I feel like I actually found me as my biggest supporter. So yeah, the first year it was so hard. It was really scary. I didn't know anything. I didn't know how America worked. Um, I've never felt as lonely as I felt. But
Hmm.
then in that process, I understood how to learn how to be there for myself.
Mm.
So it was actually it was great afterwards, after like all my
After that, being in
medication.
it, like after like, or at least kind of coming out of it,
Yeah,
like,
coming out was like, whoa, I'm a new person. Like I
yeah,
I feel like I can deal with anything now.
wow,
So it was great. And yeah, and then after that I was so tired of like just being depressed that I was like, okay,
being
I'm gonna
sad.
learn English. Yeah. I'm gonna go and talk no matter if I feel embarrassed or anything, and
Mm.
learn to drive, get a job, boom, back to myself.
Yes, we love that.
So now I feel great. I feel so great after that. I feel like it was absolutely needed though. I totally learned a new version of me
Hmm.
that I really like, that I'm
Hmm.
very comfortable with now.
Wow, that's beautiful. And even though the feeling in itself um didn't sound like at the time, I feel like a lot of people who like immigrate, like there's enough commonalities and intersectionalities in that, which is actually like a documentary that I'm currently like working on, is like at least coming from a Filipino American lens of like the changes that happens when you get here, so like for me, immigration stories, like the situation stories, the situating, I mean, the settling period of the immigration is the thing that I feel the most passionate about in that whole thing, is because like what you said, you were depressed for like a year, and then after that you realize that it was just part of the process. It was part of your, yes, it was a growing pains, but growing
Mhm.
regardless, so I have a couple more questions, because you've shared so many beautiful things about yourself, your life, where you come from, which is I love it. How, I guess, now looking back at it, how has that experience like affect not affected but influenced your work now being a filmmaker here in America? Kind of taking your life there in Peru, and now like starting here. How has all of that influenced your work and the way you now show up in your craft?
yeah, I feel definitely I said at the beginning, I like to tell stories that I believe in now. So there was a point in Lima where I was just doing whatever it would come, just for the sake of acting or just for the sake of having a job.
Wow.
I would tell stories that at the end I was like, why? What for?
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm trying to be more committed to telling stories that I truly believe they're giving something or they're saying something that
Mm-hmm.
I care for, that I think it's good for, and that it's absolutely honest. So that's something that has completely shifted because I feel like I've learned to be more honest with myself while I was here alone.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, I'm doing that now. So and also because I feel I can work here and do projects there. So
It,
I've been doing a lot of
it's
things
a
there too.
win-win. It's definitely a win-win.
Yeah, because I can work here and pay projects there, which is it's great. So I've been doing that. I've been my own creator on so many projects. It has allowed me that to be able to do my projects, to put my ideas in a script, in film, or in documentaries. But yeah, that I feel like that's the main thing. Like to be honest and say something I really truly believe in. That was the big difference.
Okay, so speaking of that, being able to now be in a place where you can actually not only like bridge two worlds, work here and work there. I know that you actually will be launching, premiering a personal project, a documentary.
Yes.
What's it called? Talk to us, please. Please share about it. I'm so
Okay.
curious.
So it's el Proyekto Tinku. Tinku is a word in Quechua, and it means warrior. It means to be able to fight for what you want. So that's not the real translate, but that's the idea. So it's a documentary about kids in Cusco, and Christian Marin McCoy, which is a guy who used to live in Lima, and he's a boxer, and he moved to Cusco to create a little boxing community with kids. And the documentary follows their journey on the boxing industry in Peru and how they started from zero to be a huge community now. They're like a big family. And how
Wow.
they had no resources when they started, and
Mm-hmm.
literally it was like, we need new shoes because they didn't have shoes, or
Mm-hmm.
we need to get them to the doctor. Does anyone want, I don't know, extra, like have extra shoes or something like that?
Yeah.
And how that community effort like has helped them so much. So now they're like in the national team. Not all of them because they're like little, they're young, but it's about that community effort.
Mm.
How if like everybody put a little bit, then magic can happen. So it's their
Wow.
boxing journey and their community journey as well. It took
Wow.
some time. Yeah, that's what it's about. So it's gonna
Hey.
be on demand for now. You can see it online. And
Yes.
I'm gonna have a little premiere in Cusco. So if anyone can come to Cusco, you're
Yes.
welcome. You're welcome to
Yes, I
come.
would love to have audiences from there tuning in here. That would be an honor. How like because like what I mentioned earlier, I'm like in the I guess now technically I'm in the middle of like post-production post-production for my own documentary that I'm working on. I'm like interested actually like how's the journey in the process of like putting this together?
It was a long process. It took me like 4 years, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's I remember the day I said, let's do a documentary. I had no idea
Oh,
how
me too.
much work it actually is.
That's
I was just like, wow, I love that story. That's something I want to tell.
uh-huh.
And I grabbed my camera and followed them around. I talked to everybody, talked to the kids, talked to McCoy and their parents. And
Mm-hmm.
at that moment, I was just like, I really love this story.
Mm-hmm.
It was such a raw, honest story. So I was just like, following them with my camera for some time.
Mm-hmm.
And but with no expectations, no exact idea of what I was gonna say, no script, no, just like with the certainty. I don't know how to say
Yeah,
the
yeah,
word.
yes, yes, yeah,
The
yeah,
just like knowing it was a good idea.
yes.
It was a good story that I was sure I wanted to tell.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I went home, put my material together, and so like a little bit of where I wanted to take it. I again, my friends helped me, so it was all a community effort because I had no money for doing the documentary in that time. So Cristian Valera, which is a photography director in Peru,
Mm-hmm.
and Julio Neira también. My Spanish
Oh
is
no,
gone.
no, that's all good. Please be no. Say what you need to say. There's no need to self-edit yourself here. We love we love diversity here. You can cuss if
Yay.
you wanted to.
Okay, thanks for the freedom. Yeah, so like my friends, like Daniela Garro, Kente Aguirre, they all like came, Jose Carlos Seca, and we would
Mm-hmm.
just went and recorded things with the kids in Cusco, and that took some time too.
Yeah.
And then I was with all my material. I had so much, and I didn't
Uh-huh.
know like how to put it all together because I could have said the story in so many different ways.
Yes. Oof.
So many things I wanted to say. I didn't know how to make it a short one because my first cut was, I kid you not, like it was like 8 hours, and I was like,
Well, okay, okay. I laugh because it's long, but realistically, if you have a lot, that's long though. But realistically, if you like are like documentaries, they're long. But please continue. How were you able to trim it down?
because I was trying to say so many stories at the same time.
Mm.
So that was why it was so long because I literally wanted to put everything I wanted to say in one movie. And
It sounded like maybe you were treating it as a narrative, kind of like because narratives have like multi storylines. Where I feel
yeah,
like with documentaries, that's actually where I'm at. That's where I'm struggling. It's like I recognize like or accepting the fact that I have to like as much as possible follow like a like a
like yeah, like a line. So
yes.
I just sat there and think to myself, like, what's the story that I really want to say with
Mm.
this? Because I had so many options. And the community, that was the story I wanted to talk about.
Wow.
The community sense, how they did everything they did because other people helped them. And yeah, so I just focused on that and I made it. Now it's an hour long documentary that talks about their boxing journey and also like how they became a family.
Wow.
So yeah, and then like the music. So I did that first cut and I was like really happy with it, but I was like, this is not enough. Like I can do more. I can do
Mhm.
better. And then one day, my hard drive died. After like I've been editing it for like so long, a full year, just trying to like to make it better and make it better and make it better. And then I feel like the documentary chose itself pretty much because I was
Oh.
really happy with what I had, but I was still like thinking
Mhm.
I can do better. Like
And
this
then
can be
your
better.
hard drive died. So what happened?
Yeah, and he was like, no, this is fine. The documentary was like, okay. So
Oh, that's what happened.
yeah,
You kept trying to like edit.
I kept trying. I already
Uh,
had my cut. I already had everything I needed.
the hard drive was like, girl, stop.
Girl, you're
This is
good.
already the story, though.
So when that was like next year, I went back to it and I really actually liked it. It was like, that's a
Wow,
story I really want to say. Like it was there. I was just like not being, just trying to push myself more. So then I
nice.
hired more people to do the music.
Mm,
Luis Rojas, he's the creator of the music. Like
mm,
he's been working a lot in Foley and everything.
wow.
And Alondra Paredes, she's doing the color of the movie,
Oh,
and it's almost
I'm
done.
I'm so excited. How can so as we wrap up, like how can people like please give us details on how we can see the premiere of your the documentary.
Yes, so you can go to proyektotinku.com. That's where
Mhm.
it's gonna be. So you can type it because
Oh no,
probably
oh no, yes,
it's kind of hard.
friends, it will be on the show notes, so you don't have to like grab a piece of paper and write, but it'll be on the show notes. Yes.
Yeah, and I'll be telling everything about it in my Instagram too and my webpage, which
Yes.
is my Instagram is Adriana Cuba Z.
Yes.
And yeah, so social media is gonna be where you can find
Nice.
all the info about it.
Before I ask you the final question, because I know that besides the documentary, the beautiful documentary that you've like made and finished and will be like giving back to the world, can you? I know that you like briefly did a project that a short film actually as an actor actress um, that had Oprah in it. Would you mind sharing a little bit about that? Because I want to hear your like acting. You know. Um,
Yeah, it's actually a TV show. It's in Apple TV, and but that's such a small role. But I was
there are no. You already know the saying, y'all. But for those that don't know,
you're
there are
right.
no small roles. There are only small actors. Okay.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I just have a little small appearance.
Did it came out already, right?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
up
I
there. It's an Apple TV.
okay.
It was huge. That was the biggest production I did, and literally that was 3 months after I was
wow.
allowed to work in America.
Wow. Without giving any spoilers, what was your role and how was your experience? Like, did you get to meet Oprah or like
No, I
any?
didn't. I didn't.
What was like some of
Um,
your highlights? I'm curious.
so the show or that the episode I mean focused a lot on mental health,
Mm.
and it's really about how we have to be responsible with it, with ourselves, even though like there's so many things around us that they're gonna tell us not to, or that we're wrong, or that we look ugly, or our bodies are not enough. Like how you
Mhm.
have to take responsibility to say no to that and just take charge on your life and your beliefs. So
Wow.
that's what the episode's about. And my character is struggling with that. She's trying to just go back to herself, to go back to her mental her health, and to be
Wow.
just confident with who she is. Yeah, that's
Wow.
pretty much it.
It
Yeah.
sounded well. Okay. I mean, I okay. Well, we all know you're humble, but it also sounded like at least your role was it. What sounded like your role was like centered around that. So it sounds like I mean, it sounds like you're the main, at least like part of the main
No,
storylines,
because
you know?
I'm a part of a group who had the same role, so it's not that I'm
Well, I mean, but in the sense of like you are like part of a collective, you know, that it's like not small at all, you know?
yeah, it's in a big message, so I don't think it's small.
Yes. Nice. And you said people can tune watch that on Apple TV.
Yes,
What's
yeah,
it
it's
called
in
again?
Dear.
Dear, okay.
Yeah, it's a documentary type TV show too.
Okay.
Documentary fictional. It's a
Wow.
mix. Yeah.
I know that I mean, of course, with like time constraints and everything, but this is just the first of many times we'll get to talk to her because like this time that we have over here is not enough, obviously, to like be able to deconstruct all of Adriana, but I'm super thankful that we've been able to like somehow grab some gist of like her essence and what she offers to the world. So as we're actually wrapping this up, my final question for you is another drum roll. What is the legacy that Adriana, you would like to leave behind?
That's another hard question.
Good.
I love hard questions. I love to think of those spiritual things. I would say legacy. I'm honestly trying to figure it out. That's a question I've been telling to myself too, and I'm not fully sure yet. But I feel like it has to do a lot with your spiritual connection, with people's spiritual connections with themselves. I'm
Wow.
still trying to figure it
Wow.
out. But I would say something with that. And it has to do or yeah, with my film, like how my film can do that, can help that. Don't know
Yeah.
yet how, but I would like that. Have my film to say something that helps you connect.
Nice. You know what? I love. I mean, I honestly super love your answer, because I think that's a question that we're possibly asking ourselves for our whole lifetime. Sometimes we probably won't even know until someone else, like generations and generations to come. Someone probably may be the one to like someone else in generations to come may be the one to actually to answer that question and not us. You know. But it is in how we decide to live our lives that can actually but help um make that happen, basically.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes. Thank you, my love. Plug.
Thank
This is the
you.
time to plug. Where can people where can people find you actually first? Because then I know we'll share your works, the projects, some of the projects we've talked about.
I'm really active on Instagram.
Yes, she is.
So I love Instagram. I have fun. So my username is at Adriana, with one N, Cuba C. Are you gonna write it somewhere?
Oh yes, no, yes, show notes, yes, show notes. And yes, y'all, it'll be on the show notes, y'all. So, but
Sweet. And then I have a web page. It's adrianacuba.com. So I've been posting some things there too. So
nice. Y'all
that
please, y'all please check out our lovely friend over here. She is a star to be reckoned with, a shining star continuing to be, made and in the making, because of all the many possibilities that she will do. And I'm super, super thankful to finally have had this. This is actually a first moment. Like I think this is the first time we've actually just ever talked, just kind of like this, because you're so busy and I'm so busy with what we're doing, but this is why I created this platform to give opportunities for people that I really feel like should be highlighted, to just like come and share their stories. So
thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is
And
fun. Great talk.
yes,
Thanks for
thank
the for allowing me to open and and say all the things I said.
yes,
Feeling
oh for
comfortable.
sure. I love it. I love it. Like I feel like there are enough common stories about people having like cows. Like my second guest had a cow, and but then he's now a like a fashion designer in New York, So everyone has
Oh.
these like stories that are like, that's beautiful. But yes, but actually, but this is the end of the podcast because I know we can keep talking, but for the tuners, for people tuning in, thank you all so much. Thank you again, Adriana, for coming. And thank you everyone for coming to Soul Supremacy, where we talked about all things unapologetic, or most things for the most part, all things passion and in pursuit of, because we only have the time in the world to talk about everything. But thank you again, Adriana, for coming in, my love. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
This podcast show is a product of Studio Penguino. For more information about advertising, please visit www.adrianpenguino.com.